Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how we doing?
Doing great. So, the NBA 2K22 debate ratings just came out. Did you see those?
I got 100.
I was a 99, and you were a 92.
Did not,
so good luck today.
Nope.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'm impressed you even showed up.
100.
Yeah.
100?
Yep.
All right, we'll see after today, right? How about that? Speaking of the NBA and speaking of interviews, we got to talk about this, guys. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green sat down for an interview this week on Bleacher Report, and the two players spoke candidly about how their infamous on-court argument led KD to leave Golden State following the 2019 finals. Take a listen.
It wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group.
Y'all about to this up. I said the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to this up. And in my opinion, they it up.
I think so too.
Ooh, Shannon, are you buying this was management's fault?
No, I'm not buying it, Skip. Because what they're doing is that they're focusing on the handling of it and not focusing on the incident and what got them to the point. I don't get what was going to change? Skip, I believe had KD been healthy, they still would have won the title. So it wasn't like this incident caused them not to win the title, or it drove a wedge between them that it became intolerable, an untenable situation.
Yep.
That's not what happened. Whatever happened to personal responsibility, personal accountability? Draymond, you said something that you shouldn't have said. Okay, I get it. You want to go apologize to KD? What Bob Myers and Steve Kerr tried to do is to let KD know we got your back. That we're not going to just let this slide up under the rug because Draymond has been here. He's one of the staples of this organization. But we're not going to let this slide. We are going to punish him. They mentioned the incident, Skip. If I'm not mistaken, they said when Scottie Pippen wouldn't go in the game, KD said when Scottie wouldn't go in the game, everybody came. So what?
In the locker room.
In the locker room, I have to say, Scottie, that was effed up.
Yeah,
that was messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Steph and Clay and everybody comes and say, Draymond, you should have done that. What does Bob Myers and Steve Kerr have to do with that? Phil didn't say anything. When Jordan hit Steve Kerr in the eye, they didn't address it as a team. Jordan called Steve and said, Steve, my bad.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I let my emotions get the best of me, bro. And guess what? In a championship moment, he passed the ball to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr hit the shot. So I'm trying to skip out, and I went back and listened to it again. I believe at the start of the season, Kevin Durant had made his mind up 99%. I'm leaving. I believe the 0.5 or the 1% that was left solidified it. But it seemed to me, and listen to KD talk, KD's like, well, I needed a new challenge. I needed to move on. I don't believe had Bob Myers and Steve Kerr addressed this as a team, say, guys, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this in front of the team. Me, I started playing organized sports, Skip, in 1977 and played until 2003. And you know there's a lot of testosterone that goes in the locker room. I've seen a lot of fights. High school, college, and the pros. I don't recall us ever addressing a fight as a team. I don't remember now. It could have slipped my memory. Guys, whomever the fight's between, bro, how we make this, because, we got to move forward. I just don't understand how they think Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. So what was it going to change? If they address it as a team, is KD staying? If they address it as a team, are they going to win the title? You didn't win the title because KD got hurt. That argument didn't have anything with you not winning the title, Skip. It did not drive a wedge. I'm glad to see, Skip, it seems to me they put this behind them. Sometimes things like this happen, and it's never, ever the same.
You got that right.
So for them to move past a special inocument, sometimes we hold on to things.
Yep.
And I'm a firm believer, Skip, you can let things come between. They seem to be with friends before. And don't let an incident like this drive a wedge between you, that you were great friends and somebody in the heat of a moment says something. But I'm going to disagree in this situation. I do not believe the handling of this caused anything. KD wasn't going to stay if they had handled it better, because the incident happened. That's on Draymond. You let your emotions get the best of you because KD was clapping about passing the ball, and you was like, bro, I done bought the ball up in championship games before. This is a regular season game. I'm going to give you the ball. Just get your ass up the court. And KD like, okay, bro, that's how you feel about me? But Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, there was nothing they could have done that was going to change the outcome. He was leaving after the season, with or without addressing this as a team.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. I agree with every point you just made, and now I'm going to amplify because I agree times 100. I begin with the scene from one of my favorite all-time movies, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, in which Catherine Hahn's character stops and takes a look at Ron and the guys and says, children, grow up. This, for me, was a children grow up moment, because it was fascinating to me that all of a sudden we had two guys who for a while wanted to kill each other face to face on Draymond's new show. And to Draymond's credit, he broached the toughest subject possible, the most awkward subject of all, face to face without a moderator. There's no Jenny there. There's nobody to referee. All of a sudden, it's one-on-one, face-to-face, and he broaches the subject. Was that a reason? The idea was, did that hasten your exit from Golden State?
Correct.
What happened between us? And Kevin is on a hot seat, because the truth is, it was a reason that hastened his exit. And he did not refute that point. But all of a sudden, his mind is working quickly. How can we get out of this? Because I've reunited with my bro here. You know, we're now besties,
we good,
right? I don't know how they got through it, but they did. And he's thinking, how can we do this? And all of a sudden, they blame the adults. They blame the coach. They blame the general manager. That's how we can get out from under this. Let's both blame the adults. And it was childish to me, because they talked all around the point. Because the point was, just to reiterate what you talked about, this was a regular season game at Clippers. And Kevin is, as you said, he just wants the ball. After Draymond gets the rebound, he's clapping because he's got a hot hand. And he wants to take the ball because he's got to play. He has a play that he wants to run. And Draymond gives him one of these like, who the hell are you? Well, you pointed out, originally, Draymond was the guy who, after your Cavaliers came from 3-1 down to beat them, fled into the parking lot with tears in his eyes and picked up his cell phone and called one Kevin Durant, you've got to come save us. Right? So that situation escalates until the two of them are sitting next to each other on the bench. One thing leads to another, and Draymond Green calls Kevin Durant the B word. The B word. He once upon a time called LeBron the B word in the heat of battle out on the court. But this is sitting on the bench.
At least, Skip, LeBron is an opponent.
He's an opponent. It's really heat of battle. Like this is happening out. And remember, then they got into it, and Draymond sort of kicked him in the groin. It was completely over the edge, out of control.
KD and Dre are teammates.
They're teammates, and they're sitting next to each other on the bench. And he says, you know what? You're a B.
Always have been.
Always have been. Okay, just in my world, given my temperament, that's a bridge burned for me. I don't think I could ever come back from that. I mean, maybe if somebody came to me and we sat and talked it all through, but even then, I would never trust that person again, because it's hard for me to trust. I don't trust easily or quickly.
But you're not going to blame. You're not going to blame the company that you work for their handling.
I will not.
The company didn't say it. He said it.
He did it. He started it, and he would not apologize for it, because Draymond was adamant about. They flew back and took him to the facility and sat him down, and I assume it was Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, maybe other staff joined in.
Probably somebody from HR. Because he was saying something about Hazel. I mean, I don't think that's his fiancée. I think it's his wife now. I don't think she was waiting for an hour and a half. He said they was waiting for like an hour and a half.
In the parking lot, I assumed, to take him home.
So I guess...
I don't know. But they were encouraging him to apologize face-to-face to Kevin, and he said, No way. Okay, go home and sleep on it, and let's reconvene in the morning and try it again.
Right.
And they tried it again in the morning, and he said, absolutely no way am I going to apologize.
Right.
Well, he's telling this story to the guy he offended, sitting face to face with him on his new show.
Correct.
Well, deep down, you think Kevin loved that? Because Kevin can't love that. You wouldn't even acknowledge that you did this.
That you were wrong.
Right. You wouldn't even talk it out with me.
Right.
Well, that's Draymond's fault.
Right.
And Draymond's at the controls on his new show, and somehow they managed to blame the adults. They blame Steve Kerr. And even Kevin just goes off on Steve Kerr. And then, to your point, he references The Last Dance. I remember watching The Last Dance when Scotty didn't go into the game, and the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was effed up that you didn't do that. We needed that. We just needed to throw all that SH out on the table and say, yo, Dre, yo, K, that was effed up that we even had to go through that.
Well, hold on. You didn't take that up with Steph. You didn't take that up with Clay. You didn't take that up with the teammates. The teammates came in to do. Jerry Krause and Jared Reinsdorf didn't do that. That was the teammates that came in there one by one and said, hey, Scotty, you let Bill Cartwright in his raspy voice, Scotty, you let us down. Scotty, you the leader. We're counting on you.
Good point.
Right.
Where was Steph?
Yeah,
he would be the leader of the team,
correct.
right? Yeah.
So you blame Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. Well, if you look at The Last Dance, it wasn't the general manager, Jerry Krause. They come in there and say, well, Scotty, what the hell going on? What'd you do? That's not what happened.
So now Draymond is contending that he's telling Steve Kerr and Bob Myers after they push for him to apologize, and he says, y'all about to F this up. No, you are.
You did it.
You did it. You said, we didn't say it. We're trying to talk you down from it. We're trying to talk you into a place where you can just sit down with him and at least talk it out. Right?
Okay. He said, well, I don't want them to tell me what I should say. Okay, Draymond, we're going to give you. We need you to talk to Kevin Durant. We need you to talk to KD. They call him KD. We need you to talk to KD. And at some point in time, we're going to have to reconvene. You, KD, and Bob and Steve, and see if we can put this past. What I needed him to ask, because Draymond even said it. He said it looked like you were already checked out. It looked like you were already like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's not like KD's like, man, I was just locked into my work because I really wanted to three-peat. That hadn't been done very often. So it seemed to me, it just seemed to me, KD had his mind made up. 99%, I'm bouncing.
Okay.
And then this was the 1% thing. Said, you know what?
I agree. I give it more than 1%, but I believe it was a reason that hastened the exit. Right. And remember, he had issues with Steph's popularity that he could never even rival it or touch it. You made the point. Give it up, man, because it's okay. He was homegrown. You know, like the fans grew up with him. They watched him grow up, and they're never going to give that up. You're never going to supersede him in their eyes.
But you got to understand that, Skip. LeBron was never going to be more popular than D-Wade in Miami.
No.
It's Wade County.
All right.
He's homegrown. You came from the outside, even though you were the better player. I don't think you'll get any pushback, even from D-Wade, that says LeBron was a better player than I was.
No.
But he wasn't more popular in Miami than D-Wade.
No,
Kevin Durant was never going to be more popular than Steph in the Bay. You were the better player, KD. Nobody's going to ever debate that.
So here's my favorite line from Draymond yesterday as he recounts what he was saying to Steve Kerr and Bob Myers. He says, I told them the only person that can make this right, this right, and I'm going ... And I thought he was going to say, is me.
Right.
And he said is, and he went from singular to plural. The only person is singular, right? That's just one. And he goes plural because he says, the only person that can make this right is me and K. Me and K, well, that's two people. No, it's you.
Well, so how does K make it right? K make it right by forgiving you for calling him out of his name in the heat of the moment. That's what K can do. All the owners should have been on you, Dre. First of all, Dre, you should have been at the back of the plane. The plane should have never landed without you having a conversation with Kevin Durant.
I would agree, because that's where you do it.
Just go ahead. K, bro, my bad. I was wrong. I'm dead wrong.
You know what? Even if you can't make those words come out of your mouth, if you can go engage in a discussion, usually you can sort of work through it a little bit. This is why I did this, and this is why I did this, and I overreacted there.
Correct, yes.
I shouldn't have done that. You don't have to maybe say, I'm sorry if you can't say that.
Yeah, you got to say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Man, bro, my bad. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying he's so proud. I don't know if he's capable. But even if you talk through it, you might get home. You might be able to calm it down where you can go forward.
Right. Well, Skip, you got to say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's a must.
When you go B-word to a teammate, that's I apologize.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like I said, in football is different. I've never been in an NBA locker room. But you call somebody like that, you're going to have to fight them, Skip. And then, Mike might address it, says, guys, Mike or whomever the head coach at the time might have been, says, guys, we can't have that. But it ain't no sit down and talk about, okay, guys, how do we move forward?
Yeah, the football mentality is slightly different. It's slightly more testosterone to me. Where, to your point, we're going to take this outside.
Outside?
Or maybe right there. Right there.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yep. Like I said, Skip, in college, I've seen two guys almost kill each other.
Okay. I don't doubt
Skip, it wasn't no Coach Davis handling this and all that. They worked it out. They got along.
Okay, the bottom line to this, somehow, some way, these two did work it out.
Right.
I don't know how.
But how did they work it out between themselves and then turn around and pin the blame on Steve Kerr and Bob Myers? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I wanted to hear one or the other say, we've talked this thing out.
Right.
Even as Olympic teammates, we talked it out.
Yes.
Or somehow, some way, we worked it out.
Right.
But we didn't get that. And then there are other subjects that got broached, like Kevin Durant's burner accounts.
Right.
I've called him the thinnest-skinned superstar I've ever closely observed.
Right.
And Draymond immediately let him off the hook about his burner accounts by saying, you know what I love about your burner accounts? You say a lot of the same stuff on your regular account. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Right. That might be. So how do we know he don't have more burner accounts that said he said even more? He'll snap back at somebody. Yep. I'm waiting on him to go back at Evan Fournier. That's what I'm really waiting for him to go back at. He hadn't gotten around to doing that, Skip. But no, the mere fact that you got a burner account lets you know you want to say things in secrecy that you don't want attached to you.
Okay.
And Skip, sometimes what happens is that when you really get upset, remember the three people to tell you the truth are drunks, kids, and angry people. Draymond was angry that KD was clapping at him to give him the ball like he was a bum. Bro, I ain't just come in to try to close the game, bro. I've been in. I'm here. It's kind of like a situation that happened at the other network. When somebody was talking and they didn't think anybody was listening, they said how they really felt about diversity. And the other chick, I can't forgive you for this because you told me you spilled your heart when you didn't think nobody else was going to find out this is what you really thought.
Okay.
But KD is thinking hold on, bro. You angry. That's how you really feel about me.
And remember, this is the guy who begged him to come, right?
You said all these things like, bro, you the best and you better than Ron and yada, yada, whatever he might have said to get him there.
Yep.
In the heat of the moment, I'm upset. What?
And then Draymond admitted, ever since you left, we've been getting our ass kicked. And they have.
Yes.
Okay.
But Skip, a lot of that has to do with Steph. Remember, Steph got the first year after KD left, Steph breaks his wrist and basically missed the whole year. Okay, Clay was supposed to come back and he tears what? His Achilles.
Yep.
After he tore his ACL. So I believe if those guys stay healthy, because we saw what Steph is capable of doing, if Clay can stay healthy. But the question is, Skip, is that when you listen to KD says, I was just locked in with his work and people thought because I wasn't happy-go-lucky guy anymore. So you weren't locked in the first year? You weren't locked in the second year? What changed? The change is that you was gearing up to leave. That's what it was. Because he said he likes challenges. He said, it wasn't a challenge anymore at OKC. I think the thing was that you saw that you weren't going to be able to win no championship at OKC, and you says, okay, let me leave. We're going to discuss him saying that he would do it all over again a little later, Skip. But I just don't get how I do something, and then I blame Fox for why. Man, how y'all let that happen between me and Skip? Y'all, you and I get into an argument, Skip, and we blame Fox. Man, Fox, Fox handled it wrong.
Yep.
No, we handled it wrong because we the one that got into the argument.
No.
I'm confused, Skip.
So what I loved the most was there's a little outtake from Kevin at the end of the video that I watched.
Right.
And it breaks for a second after Draymond says, that's a wrap.
Right.
And there's a break, and Kevin looks to the camera and says, this is going to be an incredible interview. This is going to go crazy.
Right.
So he was very pleased with the way it went.
Right.
Because Draymond let him off the hook.
Right.
And they managed to blame management for their issues that started by Draymond.
Right.
Okay?
So Like I said, I just don't. I don't like the fact I'm a big into personal responsibility, personal accountability, and you can't have peace without forgiveness. So I'm glad it seems to be, Skip, they're at peace. Draymond, I don't know why Draymond would forgive KD, because KD didn't do anything to Draymond. But it seems to me that KD has definitely forgiven Draymond and has moved on. You see the way they were interacting at the Olympics. You see the way they've interacted since.
I mean, seriously, best friends.
Yeah. So, but they need to. They can miss me. They can miss me with this. This has nothing to do with Steve Kerr. This has nothing to do with Bob Myers. It was two guys in the heat of the moment. One guy said something to the other guy that was highly offensive that most men, especially in professional sports, is going to take it, receive it, just like KD, just like Draymond threw it out to KD. That's how they're going to look at him and look at him sideways. But like I said, I don't know. They don't tussle like that in the NBA. I guarantee you ain't calling the guy in the locker room that I came up out of.
The NFL.
Yeah. You ain't calling the guy and talk about, we gonna be friends tomorrow. We might be friends, but you gonna have to knuckle it up first, though. That's just the way it works.
I don't think they knuckled it up.
No, I'm sure they didn't. Yeah. But like I said, Skip, I mean, I've seen two guys on offense fight. I've seen two guys on defense fight. They're in the same huddle. You go play. Hey, you got an issue? You resolve the issue?
Yep.
You try to de-escalate it before it get to that point, Skip. You can, I've been around enough locker room. I'm like, okay, somebody getting serious. Hey, come on, guys, man. Let that go, man. You know, we joke all the time, man. It's just jokes. But sometimes, Skip, even the great Shay couldn't even calm him down. No. Okay, it is what it is. Come on, let's break these guys up.
Seems like they hit a lot of things in just that, 24 minutes, that interview?
Yeah.
Okay, so no mercy. Well, at this point, it looks like Dak Prescott won't play this preseason, but despite coming into a year with no reps after a brutal injury and signing a huge contract in the offseason, he may not be facing the most pressure of anyone on the Cowboys. Zeke Elliott has admitted that his down year last season took a toll on him, saying, quote, "I think the hardest part about last year is you feel like you let your teammates down. That hurts. Just having the year I had last year, you don't need more motivation than that. I just know the type of player I am. I don't think I showed that last year. I've got a lot to prove." Not shying away from it. Shannon, is there more pressure on Dak this season or Zeke?
Wrote this article. They know damn well it ain't more pressure on Zeke than it is Dak Prescott. First of all, Dak's the quarterback. Everything starts and stops with him. The man just got a $160 million contract, $75 million in his first year. Now it's time for Dak to take that next step to show that he was worthy of the contract. Skip, that's the way it works. Dak is coming off an injury, and he's not going to play. I'm glad. I'm glad he's not going to play, because now we can go past this. Well, we're thinking about it. Preseason's not that important. We'll know. After he doesn't play Saturday or whenever they play, he's not going to play the following Friday or Saturday, and we'll be done with this and we're on to September 9th.
Oh, McCarthy all but said it's over. He's not going to play.
Stop dancing.
Yeah, right.
So, but Skip, here's a guy that hadn't played in 11 and a half months. He's coming off a very serious injury. He's not going to play in the preseason. Jerry Jones was very reluctant to give him the contract. The man sitting right next to him. You got me with this one. You won this negotiation.
You did.
I overpaid you. Mm-hmm. And you talking about there's more pressure on a running back? This is a quarterback-driven league. The immense amount of pressure, because remember, Skip, the year before, he had an opportunity to win the division, and you said yourself, he didn't play good down the stretch.
He did not.
We look at how he was playing. Yeah, he was throwing for a bunch of yards, but they were empty calories. Yep. They were losing. He gets hurt, and you don't think there's pressure? Man, yeah, I'm sure Zeke wants to have a bounce-back season. Yes, Zeke feels that he's let his team down every time you don't play up to your capabilities. Mm-hmm. But when a team invest that kind of money in you, they pay you as a top 5 quarterback, now it's your job to go out there and prove to them that you are a top 5 quarterback. Anything less than winning the division, anything less than going very, very far. Skip, they got to make it to the NFC Championship game. It ain't no more, we made it to the playoffs and then lose in the first round. They got to go to the championship game. That's the kind of pressure. Don't let anybody else tell you. Don't let anybody fool you. And talk about this is all Zeke. If Zeke don't play well, no. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't draft CeeDee Lamb for Zeke. They didn't give Amari Cooper $20 million for Zeke. They did that for why? The quarterback, they said, we want to see if Dak's the real deal. They traded a first and a third to go get Amari Cooper. When they needed defense, they took CeeDee Lamb. They didn't take a wide receiver for Zeke. Man, stop this foolishness. The pressure is on one Dakota Rain Prescott, a.k.a. for short, Dak.
I hope Rain is spelled R-E-I-G-N.
You better hope so.
You
better hope so.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to speak once again by disqualifying myself as a Cowboy fan lifelong. I do not agree with your premise. You are looking from the outside in. I'm looking from the inside out.
Okay.
All the pressure for me is on one Ezekiel Elliott this year because my quarterback weirdly keeps getting honeymoon after honeymoon. And I think he just got another honeymoon phase of his career with yet another injury. If you think hard about what has happened through his contractual impasse with Jerry Jones, he became a national sympathetic figure.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Because everybody, including you, said Jerry is doing him wrong. Come on, Jerry, pay the man.
Yeah.
He's earned it. And I kept saying, he's not earning it right now through the rest of 2019 when he was betting on himself.
Right.
He played worse and worse down the stretch, especially on the road at New England and at Philadelphia and at Chicago, and you know those games.
Right.
And then on top of that, he had the tragic loss of his brother to suicide. And we segue from that into the regular season. And what happens? In the 5th game of the year, he suffers a career-threatening compound fracture of his ankle.
Right.
It required 2 surgeries to get right, as we've seen on Hard Knocks. And the sympathy for Dak began to build and build because people look back at the first 4, and I'm sort of 2/3 of a game that he played, and you realize he was on a record passing pace. And it was mostly because of what you call empty calories.
Yeah.
They were falling so hopelessly behind so quickly against a Cleveland or an Atlanta at home that it was hard to watch, but he was throwing for 1 billion yards.
Yes.
He was running away with the lead in passing yards and was on an all-time pace to set a record for passing yards, and yet they were very lucky that they weren't, in those first 4 starts, 0-4. They should have been 0-4, except for the miracle against Atlanta and the watermelon kick, right? But in the fourth quarters of those games, as you know, he was throwing for anywhere from 150 to 250 yards. And they were piling up. And now all I read is that, man, Dak Prescott, he's an MVP candidate because if he can pick right up where he left off, right?
Yes.
Okay. But again, they're letting him off the hook. I don't think anybody's saying he's got to live up to $75 million because here we go again. And as Mike McCarthy, you mentioned, acknowledged yesterday, he's not going to play at all in the preseason.
Right.
And McCarthy even went so far to say is that ideally they had this plan in place where in the final 3, they're playing 4. So I don't know if he's meaning the first 3 games or the last 3 preseason games. But he said they had a plan in place where he'd go 10 to 15 plays in the first game, quarter in the second game, a whole half in the third game. Maybe the third game they would look at as this one this Saturday. Well, that was their plan. And he said, we had that all in order. And he said, unfortunately, camp doesn't always go the way you would like. Well, now he's got some weird arm injury, and I've never heard of a quarterback having this arm injury, certainly in training camp. So you don't think he's off the hook a little bit?
No, because think about it, Skip. You give me the stat all the time. Dak last 17 games. He's 6-11. Okay. When people keep saying, and many people have come out here, we say Zeke is the most important. You say we crazy. If Dak Prescott is the most important, and the Cowboys go as Dak go, not as Zeke go, now you want to let Dak off the hook and say it's Zeke?
Okay, but now he showed you in the first minutes of episode 1 of Hard Knocks, he showed you his wishbone scar. He had 2 surgeries to get his ankle right. Okay, so we got that as a sympathy factor, and now he can't really cut loose and throw.
And guess what? And he had a money cast over that scar. Jerry don't want to hear anything about that. Skip the expectations that comes along when you pay a quarterback that kind of money. Do you understand the expectations? It's just like Josh Allen. The expectations
You don't think he's got excuses built in?
No, Dak ain't got no excuses because
double surgery and an arm injury?
Well, hold on. What they got to do with the money we gave him? So, so now
I
you get a grace period?
But, yeah.
You don't get no, Skip, now, especially in football, you don't get no grace period in pro sports.
Well, you want to talk about grace periods. The one for number 21 just ended abruptly because he led the league in rushing his first 3 years. In yards per game.
Yes.
Like 109 a game as a rookie.
Yes.
Dominated. 98 a game second year, 96 a game third year. Got his money. Fell to 85 a game. Fell last year to 65 yards a game. And if we look at 20-plus yard runs, in 2016 as a rookie, he had 14 20-plus yard runs. That led all of football. Last year, he had 3.
But Skip.
You want to talk about shell of yourself?
But think about this. Think about where they started. This was a run-based team, but they've morphed into a throwing to put the ball in Dak's hand.
Yeah, but all I hear is we want to balance it up this year.
Yeah, I know what they're saying.
Okay.
Skip, you don't pay a guy $40 million to have him turn around and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott 30 times a game. You pay a guy that kind of money because you believe he can take you to the promised land throwing the football.
Okay, but we're looking at Zeke make or break this year. It's not make or break for Dak Prescott.
No. I'm not saying it's make or break, but the amount of pressure. Because what did he say? I need my money. Well, I'm not coming around. I'm not participating in anything till you give me my money. Okay, they gave him his money. So now what you going to do to show me this money was warranted?
Okay.
You got to win. You got to do it.
So what have I heard from my friends who are Cowboy fans about the first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks? All I hear is, boy, Dak is locked in. He's standing at practice. He's mentally running the play in his head. He's saying, if they do this, I'm going to go here, but I go here. I'm reading here.
Yeah.
And he's telling the Hard Knocks crew, or I think it was actually just an interview that he did with the media group, I'm thinking through every play. And we see him on the sideline at Arizona on Friday night, and he is locked in, sort of reading as the quarterback on the field reads the play. What's Zeke been doing? We got happy-go-lucky Zeke.
Exactly.
We got giddy Zeke. We got silly, crazy Zeke. We got him eating sunflower seeds and over-the-top cheerleading on the sideline. It's kind of scary happy.
Why you think Dak is locked in? He knows the expectations of the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and what's expected. He knows. Skip, Jerry has said he understands about his football mortality. He talks about just one more time. What wouldn't I give to touch that trophy one more time? He says, I paid this guy. I paid all my guys. The offensive line from Lyle Collins to Ty Smith to Zach Martin, I paid you your money. Zeke Elliott, I gave you your money. Amari Cooper, Jalen Smith, I gave Dak. I paid you the most money.
Okay, who's the highest paid running back in pro football to this day? It's Ezekiel Elliott.
Skip.
Who has become the class clown for the Dallas Cowboys on Hard Knocks. Every time I look up, he's stealing Dak's bike, right? He's trying to wrap Dak's birthday present badly, right?
How much Zeke got 5 years, $90 million. Dak Prescott getting $75 million this year alone.
I've told you.
Over the last 12 months, Dak Prescott's going to make $106 million.
Okay, I don't think anybody's thinking about that right now. I'm talking as a Cowboy fan. They're the ones who are going to apply the most pressure. And I think all they're hearing is that Zeke is finally in the best shape of his life, in 10 times better shape than he was 1 year ago.
But Skip,
okay, you better show us.
As being around the game, when was the last time you saw a high collision guy lose it and regain it?
Well, that's a good question. We're going to ask LeSean McCoy that question because he's been there and done all that, right?
And so
he joins us in a few minutes.
Okay.
But the point is, I'm with you on that. I have my doubts, but I'm trying to hang on with glass half full that this will be a bounce back year. He just turned 26 years of age.
I'm not going to let you let Dak Prescott off the hook talking about he hadn't played in a year and he got a wishbone scar on his ankle. I'm not going to let you let him off the hook. You know the expectations when somebody has signed that big of a contract. When you're paid as a top 5 quarterback, they need you to give top five performances.
I have been ahead of you on that at every juncture. I have told you, as big a fan of Dak as I have been, I can't defend what he has not done.
Right.
And I cannot defend that he got $75 million this year because I told you, remember, you were arguing for Dak.
Yes.
I was saying he's not worth that much money because he hasn't earned it on the field. 6-11 over his last 17. I get that. I'm just telling you, what do you tell me sports is about? Narrative.
Yes.
The narrative right now is Dak is a sympathetic figure. He can't get a break. He can't get a break. He's got a wishbone scar, and now he's got this mysterious arm injury. This poor man, he can't even throw a football at full force in training camp. He's not going to play a second of a preseason game. You don't think he's going to get a grace period?
Nope.
Yes, he will. If he stinks it up at Tampa Bay, nobody's going to condemn Dak Prescott.
No. Jerry Jones don't care nothing about that. Jerry Jones said, you pocketed $75 million of my dollars.
Okay, that's Jerry. I'm talking about the way Cowboy Nation is viewing this right now. The focus will be on Zeke.
No.
If they start to lose, the scapegoat will be number 21, not Dak.
Here's the thing. You said Dak was on a historic pace last year.
He was.
We saw Zeke Elliott start tailing off towards the tail end of 2 years ago.
No doubt.
So if you if you say this guy was on a historic pace, he's an MVP candidate. Ain't nobody mentioned Zeke Elliott as no MVP candidate.
No.
They mentioned that Dak Prescott is that, and you don't think there's pressure on that?
No, I do. I'll put pressure on him. I don't think Cowboy Nation will. Their first line of sight will go to 21, because if he can't do it, if he looks like he's, as I told you, running in Cabo sand, if we still get the shell of Ezekiel Elliott, who was the class clown, it went all the way the other night to he's putting baby powder on his glutes, remember? And he came out, pardon my language, and said, hey, if I fart out here, you're going to see a cloud of baby powder. Well, he's the class clown.
Right.
Well, and I think a lot of people are saying, does he even care anymore?
Right.
Is he serious about this? Or is he just a cut-up now? Is that who he's become? Is he going to lock in the way Dak is locked in? Or is he going to cut up the way he cuts up in Hard
Because
Knocks?
Dak understands he has more responsibility and pressure and expectations. That's why Dak has to lock in, because he knows. Skip, first of all, you can't look at Cowboy fans. Cowboy fans are delusional because they think they're going to win the Super Bowl every year. Now, I know. Let me tell you who's going to be in their crosshairs. You already know. The guy that starts, that's the terrible motivational speaker. They're about to get on Mike McCarthy. If they don't do something this year, you know who's getting blamed. Oh, Mike McCarthy can't coach. We should have kept Jason Garrett. They couldn't wait. You two couldn't wait to run Jason Garrett out of town. Then you get Mike McCarthy. We got a Super Bowl winning coach. We got us a made man. Lo and behold, come to find out, Aaron Rodgers only lost like 5 or 6 games since he's been gone. He's only won 5 or 6 games since he's been gone.
You could be right about that. I think Cowboy Nation is all but running Jalen Smith out of town already.
Yeah.
But it's okay right now because Micah Parsons looks like he's going to be a star. And Keanu Neal, moving from strong safety to linebacker, looks like he's going to be a football player.
And the thing is, Skip, is that when you look at it, Zeke is not under pressure because his next year's salary's already been guaranteed. Where you going? You get rid of him, it's $23 million. If you get rid of him after the 2023 year, it's a $6 million. So Zeke isn't going anywhere. Number 4 has immense pressure, Skip.
Well, I don't doubt that. But I'm saying right now, in my eyes, my line of sight, there's more pressure on Zeke because I need Zeke to be at least a semblance of Zeke, or if they don't respect the run game at all, you can't just throw your way to a championship.
But you saw, Skip, Zeke tailing off. This started 2 years ago when you said, I don't see it in bursts.
So are you saying he is done then?
When I say done, I don't believe he's that 1,600, 1,500, that guy that could just take the game over and just run. What we saw in Pittsburgh and the way he could take games over. Remember that game of who they played, Detroit or the Eagles, how he just took the game over? I don't believe he's that. And that's why you pay that guy the kind of money that he does. You play Dak that kind of money. Because guess what? We put the ball in your hand. Bring us home. We got CeeDee Lamb, who you believe is the number 1 going to take over for Amari.
I do.
You got Amari. You got Gallup. Oh, no. This thing is all on Dak.
I think it's set up for Zeke to have a bounce back year. And I do believe he will have something of a bounce back year. Maybe not a 2016 year, but a much better, maybe a 2017 or 18 year.
If I know you remember the color purple, hey, Dak, you don't get it done, it's going to rain on your head. Yeah, them boos and our criticism going to rain on his head.
No, we need R-E-I-G-N. Right?
Well, you better hope. Yeah. It's raining some doves in Dallas. That's what you better hope.
I think you're loving all this because you hate the Dallas Cowboys.
I think there's
I'm going to get my
plenty of
due back.
pressure.
See, I told you I get it back during football season, and I got an extra game. The NFL knew what they was doing.
You're
Say
feeling
Shannon
good about
behind
it?
and do bet. So let's add an extra game so we can get it back.
Oh, is that what
Yeah, what they did? Yeah.
You keep saying it, Shannon, that'll help. I think the pressure, there's enough to go around when you're a Cowboys fan. Guys, Aaron Rodgers opened up a bit more about his offseason this week, and he admitted on a podcast that he nearly retired. Yeah, I said retired because of the drama, saying, quote, I felt going into the weekend before camp that I was 50-50. I don't care if people don't believe that. That's true. He also left the door open to returning to Green Bay after this season. Take a listen.
I don't want a farewell tour. I don't know what's going to happen after the season, but I'm going to enjoy it with the right perspective for sure, and not look at it as I'm getting through this. I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of, all of it.
Okay, Shannon, what do you make of this?
Skip, I don't think anybody on any network has defended Aaron Rodgers more than I have.
I'll buy that.
But I'm getting tired of his ass.
Good. Thank you.
He talking about, no, he don't want a farewell tour. Skip, who posted on his IG The Last Dance? Does he understand what The Last Dance meant? The Last Dance was Michael Jordan didn't play anymore.
Correct.
Ain't nobody was talking about no farewell tour until you brought it up. Ain't nobody even thinking about no farewell tour. Kobe mentioned at the end of the beginning of the year, this is my last year, they gave even Kareem, remember Skip, everybody was giving Kareem rocking chairs, somebody gave him some boots, some guitar, I get all that. But ain't nobody mentioned no farewell tour until you brought it up. Nobody was thinking about no retirement until you brought it up. You brought this up because you or your team leaked to Adam Schefter that there were issues between you and Green Bay.
Correct.
You did this.
He did it. Yep.
Wasn't about no retirement. What you wanted to do, you wanted to throw your weight around. You say, Green Bay, get rid of Brian Gutekunst or else.
Yep.
They say, I'm a firm believer, Skip, when somebody gives you a choice, an ultimatum, do this or else, always choose else. And that's what Green Bay did.
Yep.
Retire. We're not trading you. Well, I was 50-50. You weren't 50-nothing. Man, I'm tired of this. You know what he done, Skip? You know who he turned into? He turned into the guy that he came behind. He done turned into Brett Favre. Skip, you remember the last 4 or 5 years? Every year, Brett, man, I don't know. I think I'm going to retire. I think I'm going to hang it up. I'm retired. And Green Bay said, you know what? We're going to retire you from Green Bay because we finna trade you to the Jets. Aaron, you're up. And Green Bay got tired of Aaron Rodgers' BS. That's why they hired a coach and didn't tell him. That's why they made the moves, because they got tired of his BS.
They did.
Man, Aaron, stop this foolishness. Go play football. And don't worry about it. If they give you a farewell tour, okay. If they don't, that's okay too. But I need you to play football and stop talking about I don't want any farewell tour while you keep putting up, why you want all these guys back? Why you want Clay Matthews back?
Yep.
Why you want Randall Cobb back? You want to get the band together for one last hoorah. Man, you need to stop, man. He really getting on my nerves, Skip.
Aaron Rodgers has been getting on my nerves for the last 10 years. Is it now 11 since he went to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, 2010.
Yep. So I'm going to put your man Aaron Rodgers on my couch for a minute and psychoanalyze. I see an aging quarterback who found a way to deal with pressure last year. And the way to deal with it was to say, I'm finding my bliss. It's to all but go hippie beach bum. That's what he looks like now. Right. He's let his hair grow long and he just combs it straight back. He doesn't style it anymore. And every word out of his mouth is about joyfulness, happiness. I'm focused on joyful and happy.
Right.
And I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. We just heard him say. And he talked about last year, he said, I took the headphones off on bus, when they're bussing on the road, and enjoyed the surroundings and the road trips and the time with the guys. Yeah, that's a great template for sure. So what happened last year, he just sort of gave into it and said, you know what? I'm going to accept my fate. They took this kid. They traded up to take him in the first round. This could be it for me in Green Bay. And I'm just going to have fun with it and be at peace with it. And I'm going to find my football bliss late in my career. And what was the result of that? You can argue he had his greatest year ever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ran away with MVP because he took the pressure off. And the pressure didn't mount again until he got to an NFC Championship game at home. And all he talked about that week was, My dream came true.
Right.
All I ever wanted was one NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field, and
Correct.
he got it.
Right.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had it 1st and goal at the 8 and 1-2-3 kick because they took the field goal, and he pretty much stunk up the fourth quarter, and they lost to Tom Brady and company. And Brady and company went on to win a Super Bowl that I'm sure Aaron had his sights on, that he could solidify and bookend his career with a second Super Bowl that did not come true.
Correct.
And the whole offseason to me was a sympathy tour for him where he very strategically sent messages out through various reporters that he's unhappy, he wants out, he needs to be traded.
Right.
And ultimately, I think it was a money play, but it was, in the biggest picture, a sympathy play because he wanted to change that narrative you talk about from, I screwed up the NFC Championship game, but I need to become a sympathetic figure to Packer Nation again, and he did.
Right.
Don't go, Aaron. We need you. We love you. You're it. We can't go forward with Jordan Love. We don't even know who he is. We don't know what he is. And he pulled off becoming a very sympathetic figure with Packer Nation because they were all but on their knees. Please come back and give us at least one more year.
Flying all across the country, knocking on his door, trying to get him to come back. Skip, it was him that posted The Last Dance. It was him that I want to host Jeopardy. I want that gig. It was him restructuring his contract. If Aaron Rodgers really wanted to get up out of there, you know who his agent is? David Dunn. People don't know who David Dunn is. That was Carson Palmer's agent. When Carson Palmer says, I want to get up out of Cincinnati and I'm going to retire, Mike Brown says retire. He retired. Guess what? He got traded to the Raiders. So if Aaron Rodgers really wanted to retire and force his hand, he got the agent that just did it. The last guy to do it. Aaron Rodgers was out there bluffing. I'm calling your bluff. Yeah, I'm one of the guys that don't believe it. I do not believe you were going to retire. Okay. You were bluffing, trying to get the Packers to say, look, y'all need to make a decision. Brian Gutekunst or me. There are other general managers. Y'all ain't a whole lot of Aaron Rodgers ever. So he can miss me with this.
I said from the start, he was bluffing. I told you from the start. You said, we need him in Denver.
Yeah, we do.
And I got it. He wanted no part of Denver. It's too much pressure. There's no bliss in Denver because all of a sudden you're on the hottest seat because Denver, the Bronco Nation, you know it better than anybody, would sit back and say, okay, you're on. Be Peyton. Show us. Show us. You can be our new Peyton Manning, right?
Yeah.
Take us to the promised land. Heck, be Elway.
Right.
You're that great. You can do this. Let's win a couple of more Super Bowls before you retire.
Right.
I don't think he wanted any part of that. I think he loves being the man in a small, biggest fish in a pretty small Green Bay pond. You know it well because your brother played there. And he wants to retire a Packer. And I do not think he wants this to be a farewell tour because I think he wants to play 2 more years.
Well, Skip, why even mention farewell tour?
Well,
why are you so reflective?
Okay, but he posted Last Dance, but he hasn't talked about a farewell tour. He just got asked about, is this a farewell tour?
No.
He didn't bring it up.
No, he said, I don't want a farewell tour. He says, no, I'm playing football. I'm not done. I'm not done.
Nope, he's not done. And he doesn't want to give up that job and that throne that he's on in Green Bay. He does not want to walk away from it just yet.
But then why is everything so reflective? Why is everything so, is bliss? And, the headphones came off. Well, I mean, especially like when we land in the city, there ain't nobody had no headphones on. Everybody laughing and joking and talking. Now, when you're on your way to the stadium, that's a different mindset, Skip. I'm getting ready.
I think that's what he meant, like on game day bus to the game. Take your headphones off and sort of, instead of going internal into your music and into your zone, just enjoy the sights and sounds.
What sights and sounds? Every city you've gone into?
Of Detroit, right?
How many times they're in the same division? How many times they take the same route to the stadium?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I put him on the couch. It's all peace and love. It's all great. It's all happy because it worked last year.
You drinking 5 or 6 shots of tequila?
That's all.
Yeah, you're gonna be happy.
Yeah.
You be very, very happy.
Yeah. That's all he talks about, right?
Yes.
A little jack here and there.
Man, come on.
Okay.
Man, just go play football.
Well, he successfully took all the pressure off himself
Ain't
last
no
year.
pressure off him.
And it worked.
Oh, no. No, that pressure's on him. After the season he had and the commotion that he caused this offseason, he better have a season damn near close to what he had last year. Absolutely.
Sounds like Shannon Sharpe is turning on Aaron Rodgers.
I ain't turning on him, but I'm sick of his BS. I'm here.
Really?
I'm done with all this talking and retiring and farewell and this and I'm going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to be in the present. I want to make this. I want to hear none of that.
So you've turned on LeBron James and Aaron Rodgers.
I ain't want to turn on I ain't turned on nobody.
You said it will not work with Russell Westbrook.
That's
what you said. And so I'm taking it to my bank.
I said it's not a natural fit. But if anybody can throw a puzzle on it, don't even let him look at it. Just throw the pieces on the table. Go to figure it out.
Okay. Will GOAT Rodgers figure it out?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. He talking about he might retire in the middle of the season. He was thinking about he was 50-50 right before the season.
What he said.
So he might be 50-50 during the season.
Oh, Malibu Aaron.
Yep. I appreciate the honesty from you, Shannon. I'm curious how this plays out with the season starting. If his tone changes, if it kind of stays this way. You're gonna be all over him.
Yeah, I sure am.
This should be fun, guys.
Skip, he should have retired because he looked like he retired already.
No mercy. Tim Tebow's time with the Jaguars is officially over after being cut following last weekend's preseason game. And his football career is likely done for good this time. Tebow's legacy as an all-time college football legend, it's secure, but a lot of what-if questions remain about his short NFL tenure. So, Skip, I want to start with you. What is your final thought on Tebow's career?
Before I get to my final thought, Mr. Sharpe, I want to get this out on the table. I readily acknowledge that many people do not like Tim Tebow. In fact, many people despise Tim Tebow, and I think you're among those people.
Despise Tim Tebow.
I think you do.
No.
And it starts from he was always the poster boy for the religious right, and he wears his religion on his sleeve to a fault. And he forces religion down your throat, and he carries himself as if he's special because God is on his side. And we get all the way to he was one white running quarterback who got opportunities that many black running quarterbacks were not given.
Okay.
Fair enough, just to get all that out there. I appreciate all that. I know all of it. I get all of it. I also want to make it very clear, I'm not a friend of Tim Tebow's. I barely know Tim Tebow. I've interviewed Tim Tebow 3 times.
Okay.
I do not keep in touch with Tim Tebow. When he became a Jacksonville Jaguar, ill-fatedly, I had no communication. I've not texted with him. I have no idea what's been going on inside his life and head while he's been a Jaguar. Now to my conclusion, as Jenny asked. My final takeaway from Tim Tebow's career is that he became one of the saddest stories, maybe the saddest story I have ever encountered on the field. And by that, I mean, I'm not talking about personal tragedy here. Obviously, we're not talking about a terminal illness or a loss of a loved one. I'm talking about, as an athlete, his story is as sad as it gets because, as you well know, he was one of the greatest college football players ever. He won 2 national championships at Florida. He won a Heisman Trophy. He was a first-round NFL pick, albeit late in the first round at number 25 by Josh McDaniels. And then he got the worst break of his football career when the guy who picked him got fired in the middle of his rookie year. Before he'd even been able to start an NFL game, Josh McDaniels was gone.
Right.
As you know, that's a bad situation because you have a new regime, John Elway and John Fox, who did not pick you and did not want you to be their quarterback. But he did get some chances for a 3-11 Denver team at the end of his rookie year, got thrown into that fire. And he showed flashes of, I'm not going to say greatness, but goodness, because he threw for 308 yards against the Texans and ran for a late touchdown to pull out a 24-23 game at home and showed you just the kind of play that Tim Tebow showed you at Florida. And I said before his draft, I would take him late in the first round because if you'll let him run that Florida offense, he'll never make a Pro Bowl, but he can win games in the NFL. So when your Denver Broncos fell to 1-4 the next year, he got thrown into that dumpster fire to get it over with at Miami. And as I detailed for you yesterday, he simply went on the greatest run of clutch quarterback play I have ever seen. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 games. I'm talking about an 11-game run in which he turned around a 1-4 team and led it to the AFC West championship, the division championship. And they beat Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers in a home playoff game. And it was clutch play after clutch play, many with his legs, some with his arm, many of them late. He led the NFL in the last 5 minutes of games in QBR, and that's an extraordinary stat. And the Denver Broncos went from hopeless to leading the NFL in rushing because he's very good at right and decide ball handling in the read option with Willis McGahee. So we go from that to the fairy tale ends up in New England against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They get blown out. There's no real shame in that. I don't think they were nearly as good as those Patriots. And from that moment on, Tim Tebow was never given the opportunity to start another NFL game, and that is mind-blowing to me. He obviously got some looks. He got a look with the Jets. He thought he was going to get a chance. He did tell me that Rex Ryan told him he would get a 50-50 opportunity to win the job from Mark Sanchez, but was he ever allowed to start a game for the Jets at quarterback? He was not. He got a look from Belichick. He got a look from Chip Kelly, but they were just looks. And before you knew it, he was out of football. So the next time I saw him was in August, just before we started this show here in Los Angeles, when he had a baseball showcase at USC to get signed by a Major League Baseball team to start at the bottom of the minor league system, somewhere like in the Arizona Fall League, to try to make his way into professional baseball. And he told me at that point that he was devastated about what happened to him in pro football. Well, it would be devastating because that was your dream. That's all you ever worked for your whole life was to play pro football.
He did.
You did that, and you accomplished that.
Yeah.
You pulled that off.
Yes.
And then you never got another opportunity. It's unheard of. It will never happen again this way, where this man did that and then suddenly decided, I'm going to have to replace my gridiron glory with trying to make it in minor league baseball? Are you kidding me? And he fought up for 4 years. He fought up that minor league ladder. Yeah. Single A, double A. He was a double A all-star, triple A. 4 years until finally his college coach, Urban Meyer, out of nowhere, gets the job in his hometown of Jacksonville.
And gave him what that you said he didn't get before? An opportunity.
To start at quarterback? No. And so silly me, I said immediately, surely they have a plan in place whereby Tim Tebow will get to do what he did best for Urban at Florida when he was a freshman, and that is to run gadget quarterback plays out of the Wildcat as an H-back to make first downs or score goal line situation touchdowns. And I thought that's what they'll use him as, ultimately using his quarterback skills, and they kept trying to sell him as a tight end, and I did agree with you. There is no way that you're going to leave football for 8.5 years and come back as a tight end, which would require you to play special teams, which would require you to block and tackle, which you've never done before, and it would require you to catch passes. He had never caught a single pass in a college or pro football game. Right. Not one. Sometimes quarterbacks.
Well, that's arrogance on his part. Okay. That believed that even though he had never done any of those things, he was going to come back and do it at the highest level. Okay.
Well, I consider that Urban's fault, but Urban played along with it or let it happen. And obviously, Tebow's never going to be a tight end. And I kept saying, surely he's going to change 85 into 15. But Gardner Minshew's wearing number 15. And Tebow was literally 7th on the depth chart as a tight end.
Yes.
So out of the blue, the first cut comes, 90 down to 85, and Urban cuts him. He is the 7th tight end. And Urban said, enough is enough. This is the right thing to do. And said, well, he can't play special teams. Well, he played 16 plays the other night in the one and only preseason game he played in, and he played no snaps on special teams. And I thought it was humiliating for a player of Tim's stature, what he accomplished in college and for that 1 year in Denver in pro football, to have to go through the shame of being cut like that in the 90 to 85.
Well, he brought that on himself. Because here's the thing, Skip, let me ask you a question. How long is the average NFL career, regardless of the player, regardless of the name? 3 years. Tim Tebow got 3 years. He had an average NFL career. You said his dream was to play quarterback in the NFL. He did that.
Did he pull it off?
He played.
Was he great at it? Was he really good at it?
No.
Yes. He did that. You saw it with your own eyes, and you wouldn't allow it to go in your head. You're like all the rest of them. All the Hall of Famers said he can't throw.
He was not good at quarterback.
I kept saying
he was not good.
All intangibles. It's all his will to win. I've never seen, as Urban Meyer said to Chris Collinsworth, he is maniacal. He's a competitive psycho. That's what he is. He's a competitive maniac. He played it at the highest level. He took your team to the division championship because he made play after play after play after play. I showed you a bunch of them yesterday. You said, boy, that was a good throw.
So Tim Tebow is the only guy that's had a 3-year career, which is average, that everybody makes a hullabaloo.
To me, he had a 1-year career.
No, Skip, he got drafted.
He had a 10-game career.
Okay.
Well, that was it.
But here's the thing. He got an opportunity from the Jets. He got an opportunity from the Pats. He got an opportunity from the Jags.
Define opportunities.
Skip.
Are those opportunities to play quarterback?
The Broncos did something that no other team would allow him to do. Practice terrible,
and then
still put him in the game.
Did it work?
Nobody else is going to do that.
Did he do that? Did he pull those games out of the fire?
So he's the only. So Skip.
Did he do it?
Skip. Yes.
You can't refute it because the proof is in the pudding.
Skip,
he did it.
Skip, there have been other guys that have started and then been out of the league in 3 years. This is not unique to Tim Tebow. If his last name was Kicklighter, you or all the others wouldn't give a damn.
Wait a second. Colt McCoy's still in this league.
Okay.
Chase Daniel's still in this league. Josh Johnson is still in this league after these many years. And Tebow got one little chance in Denver and seized the chance like nobody's ever seen. I've never seen anything like it before.
Because you and others can't get past. How can a guy be so great at college, be so average in the NFL? And that's what he was, average.
What was my award-winning video, thanks to DJ Steve Porter? What was the name of it? All he does is win.
Win what?
Did he win the AFC West? Did he win a home playoff game with a lightning bolt of a throw in overtime to Demaryius Thomas to win the game? Yes, he did. He did.
But here's the thing. This is what I never understood. In professional sports, it's all about updating your resume. Tim Tebow is the only guy that got to live off a resume that's never been updated. You still said, well, he should be given an opportunity for what he did in 2011.
What opportunity did he get off what he did in 2011?
None.
Was anybody better over a stretch like that in 2011 than Tim Tebow? He took the league over.
He went to the Jets. He couldn't beat out Mark Sanchez.
He wasn't given an opportunity.
He went to Skip.
Wasn't given an opportunity.
Skip, when you get in the game.
Put him in the football game when it's a real game with the game on the line and see what happens.
We got to practice.
Okay. He is rare. He is unconventional. Never seen anything like it.
You want to make concessions for him that you never make for anybody else.
If the Jets looked at the tape of what he did, well, he did it to them at Mile High, right? Who won the game with the 20-yard run at the end of the game?
Skip.
He did that.
But
and you say it was defense, it was special teams, it was place kicking. I get all that, but remember, when you're leading the league in rushing, your time of possession is going to be higher, and you're going to keep the defense off the field much more than usual.
Right.
So they found a magical mix of we'll do ride and decide. Willis will be high in rushing, and we will lead the league in rushing.
He wasn't very good.
He can really run with the football.
Yeah, he can run, Skip. But a quarterback, eventually, you're going to have to throw the football.
And he led the whole league in QBR in the last 5 minutes of all those games. No one had it last 5 minutes like Tim Tebow.
He had an average
game
NFL
after
career.
game. It wasn't average. It was spectacular.
It was 3 years.
It was 1 year of spectacular.
Okay.
And it's a very sad story. The NFL rejected him because of Tebow mania.
Skip,
because he was such a media distraction that we cannot do this. And we feel like if we give him another opportunity, he'll probably seize it.
No, he won't.
He'll maximize it, and we'll be stuck with it.
This is what I don't get. They cut guys every year. But only Tim Tebow get this pity party. Ain't nobody feeling
what pity party?
The one you
I'm the only one.
Right now.
I'm the only one.
Or Tebow
I'm the only one who's objective about it. I was from the start.
Skip. He wasn't good.
Oh, he was great.
No, he wasn't.
At what he did, he was great.
No, he wasn't.
He took a dumpster fire of a team to a division championship.
And that's what he was as a quarterback.
That is as shocking a story as I've ever seen in the league.
He wasn't any good.
I showed you all the plays. How can you say when you make play after play, does that mean you're terrible?
Really? No. Really? Skip.
Huh.
I'm not saying he had to be historically great.
Did you see what happened the first game at Miami? They're down 15-0 with 2:44 left. Tell me he wasn't good in the game.
Skip.
Tell me he wasn't good in overtime. Let's just go down the list. Tell me at Oakland he wasn't good.
Let me ask you a question.
He was sensational.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? I didn't hear anybody with Vince Young. Vince Young was Rookie of the Year, took Tennessee to the playoffs, went to Philadelphia, threw for 430-something yards in the game, and never played another snap. And people never said anything. It's because the team...
You're talking to the biggest Vince Young defender in all of media.
Skip.
And what happened? Jeff Fisher did him in because Jeff Fisher told the media he wasn't mentally stable. Remember when they thought he was on suicide watch?
Yes.
And his reputation never got through that.
Right.
Never was able to overcome that.
So are we going to talk about, there were two teams when the Broncos were trying to trading Tim Tebow. There were two teams that wanted him, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets. He went to the Jets because it was a bigger stage. It was a bigger
St. Louis wanted him also.
So he chose to go to New York. And so why would he want to go to Jacksonville now? He had an opportunity to go to Jacksonville 10 years, almost a decade ago. He didn't want to go because New York was a bigger market, a bigger stage, a bigger platform.
And a better team. And Rex Ryan called him. This is according to Tebow in an interview I did.
They got the same major, Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah. And Rex called him and said, I love you, man, and I got you. And you will have a 50-50 shot of winning this job, which means you'll get to start a game at quarterback.
Start
right?
No. They don't give you no guarantees. They don't guarantee. You got to get there in practice.
Who would you rather have with the game on the line, Tim Tebow or Mark Sanchez? Help me out. I want to know what the Hall of Famer says.
Give me Mark
I want to know.
Mark Sanchez. Because Mark Sanchez went to AFC Championship game.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
And then what happened?
They lost.
You want to talk about getting carried by your defense?
Oh, that is the defense. That was the defense. What did they do?
Help me out.
Ground and pound.
Who would you
Ground
take?
and pound.
Tim Tebow in the clutch or Mark Sanchez? Mr. Butt Fumble. Who would you take?
Whoa.
You know what? Rex blew this one. If he had inserted, well, he would have. If he had inserted Tebow, look out.
You see what you
Miracles
did?
happen.
Now, see, when I say the Broncos with defense were playing well, you talk about that defense was terrible. Mark Sanchez had the same situation, and you give credit to the defense.
The Broncos didn't have the best defense in pro football, and Rex did. Rex had a defense could shut down Tom Brady at Foxborough.
And they got no, it was Mark Sanchez. I'm going to use your thing.
Yeah, you know it. You know.
What was Rex Ryan's philosophy? Ground and pound. So he kept the defense fresh so they could go dominate. The exact same thing that the Broncos offense did, and the defense could dominate. But you give the credit to Tebow, but give the credit to the Jets defense.
Well, who was half of the ground and pound? It was the quarterback. The quarterback could really run with the ball.
He can't throw the football. Yeah. He had that 8 games, and it was over. It's okay.
He threw the heaven out of the football when it was time.
Skip.
When he needed to complete big passes. We don't have time. I did it yesterday. I took up a lot of time. I showed you the parade of big passes he threw down the stretch of all those games. It was big pass after big pass. I even showed you the one at Kansas City when he had a horrible game until it was time to hit Eric Decker with an 80-yard bomb. Boom, hit him right on the money in the hands to win the game 17-10. I've never seen anything like it before.
He had an average NFL career, which lasted 3 years.
No,
that's what he had.
1 year that was spectacular.
But his rookie year,
and the league rejected him on grounds of Tebow mania. People didn't like him, didn't like the distraction in the locker room. If you can play, Skip, I don't think so.
They've had people that have killed people, DUI and killed people. They've had people that done some really bad things. They could play. Your guy could not play that position well enough, consistently enough. That's why he's not in the league
You're just
anymore.
like everybody else. He can't play, but they won the AFC West in a home playoff game. Interesting. I don't know how you justify it. It's right before your very eyes, and you won't let your eyes believe what they are seeing.
There have been guys that have been starter for a year or two, and then out of the league. It happens. This is not unique to Tebow.
Yeah, they were a starter for a year or two because they were terrible and their team was worse. That's what happened. So this is the champ of that division, and you know how hard it is to win that division.
It is. But, Skip, you make every excuse why Tebow should – well, that team, if somebody else get cut, well, they were horrible. Tim Tebow, well, they never gave him a chance. Skip, he had 3 years to show what he can do, and he didn't do it.
3 years where? How? Where?
Skip.
Show me 3. I give you one.
Skip.
He started games for about 2/3 of 1 year and was as spectacular as you can be.
Well, Skip.
Can't do much better than that.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to start. I'm just not going to put you in the games. You're going to have to show me in practice. He's terrible.
Did he do this?
He did
Yes, he did it.
Skip, I can't skip. So in other words, I'm going to say Mark Sanchez, even though you won the quarterback battle, I'm going to put Tebow in the game, even though he didn't beat you out.
You just have to have the guts.
No. You don't have to do
what
that.
he does.
No, Skip, if he's that, he could throw the ball. He should be able to throw the ball consistently, accurately.
He did.
Skip, he completed 46% of his passes.
In the clutch, he was sensational.
How did we get to the clutch?
Led the whole league in QB
How did we get to the
5
clutch?
minutes.
You're going to always have the 2000 Ravens defense.
I do feel sorry for him.
I don't.
Yep. He wound up getting shamed and cut by the Jacksonville.
How they shamed him. Skip, name the person that ESPN keeps his job for him while he keeps trying to do habits. Well, I'm going to go play baseball. ESPN's welcomes him back with open arms. He was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to try football. ESPN opened it. Whatever person can do that.
Well, he's good on television.
Well, stay his butt in television because he wasn't good in football.
You don't think Urban Meyer could come back here if he didn't make it in Jacksonville?
Urban Meyer can go back to college, but Urban Meyer was a good head coach. He wasn't a very good football player. Skip, Skip, it's okay. Everybody can't be great. Everybody can't even be good. You can have a long career and not... Some of the best players have the longest. Look at snappers. They just cut the guy in Baltimore. He had Buffalo.
We're doing long snappers.
17 years. Skip, it's okay.
All he did was win the West, win a home playoff game. Over.
He had 8 games.
Never got another opportunity. 50 years from now, people look.
And he hadn't updated his resume.
How did that happen?
People update
You
their
can't
resumes.
update your resume without an opportunity.
The reality of the situation is Tebow time is done.
It's over. It's up. Time's up, Skip. Can we agree with that?
Yeah.
No mercy. NBA 2K22 released its player ratings, and just like with annual Madden video game ratings, some players are taking issue with the rankings. LeBron, KD, Giannis, and Steph were all tied as the highest rated player with an overall grade of 96, but Durant said he thinks he should be a 99, and even LeBron went on Twitter and said the Nets forward deserved to be a 99 overall as well. So Shannon, is LeBron admitting that KD is better than him?
No, just because you compliment a player doesn't mean that you think he's better than you. LeBron doesn't need to clap and pat himself on the back and says, I need to be a 99. And Kevin Durant's right. I believe Kevin Durant should be a 99. But it seems to me, Skip, they've kind of tightened it down with the ratings because no one has been a 99, if I'm not mistaken, since 2014. They used to give out hundreds. Kevin Garnett got 100. Tim Duncan got 100. Shaq got 100. I think one year in 2009, LeBron got 100. They've been really, really stingy with the ratings. They're not as generous with the ratings like they are in football. We see a couple of guys. I think Aaron Rodgers was, Pat Mahomes was 99, and Devontae was a 99, and D-Hop was a 99, B-Wags was 99. But that's not how they do it in basketball. They got, 4 guys with a 96 grade. Steph, LeBron, KD, and Giannis. So for me, I do believe that KD should be a 99. I do believe that. But I don't believe because LeBron is complimenting him that he's like, okay, LeBron don't need a grading on. First of all, even in football, these guys get so carried away. Man, my speed should be this. Man, I ain't care nothing about that. Because whatever your rating is on that thing ain't got nothing to do with how well you are a player when I get your butt on that field. So whatever your defensive rating was or whatever, I ain't care nothing about that. I ain't care nothing about my rating.
Okay, so if KD should be a 99, says Shannon Sharpe, what should your man LeBron be?
Yeah, but 99.
And both should be 99.
99. And Giannis should be a 99. And Steph Curry, I'll put Steph at 98.
98,
yeah,
says
give him 98.
Shannon on Steph. Okay.
Give him 98.
Okay. To me, when I first saw that LeBron had actually acknowledged that Kevin should be a 99, I was like, okay, finally, we're getting someplace. Then I saw that he also said that Steph should be a 99. Well, now you have disqualified that because now it's just false humility because you're basically saying just because they can both shoot that they're video game superstars.
Right.
So he's saying in the context of the video game, just because they can shoot the lights out, one unstoppably from mid-range, one basically unstoppably except when he misses from deep.
Right.
So he's saying they are video game superstars deserving of 99s, but he also is saying between the lines, I'm still the better basketball player. That's what I think.
That ain't what he's saying.
Yep.
Stop trying to do. Skip, even look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady might have a higher rating than Lamar Jackson. But when they get on that game, they're playing with Lamar Jackson because he can do things on the game that Brady can't.
That's what I just said. Okay,
So,
I got it.
But that doesn't mean Lamar is a better player.
Okay, but LeBron is not a better player in his sport than Brady is in his sport, because I'll take Brady any day or night over LeBron because Brady is clutch. Simple as that.
LeBron is clutch.
No, he's not clutch like Tom Brady when he's just winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl.
He's on clutch on one side. He impacts nothing on the defense.
Well,
LeBron does both.
That's the format the game is.
Okay,
That's
then.
the rules.
Give my guy the credit then.
Yeah. Credit for what?
You know.
For being 4 and
For
6
GOAT.
in the finals?
For being goatish.
I do think that deep down, LeBron does know that Kevin is just better than he is at this stage and this age. Kevin has risen and shown and taken over Olympics after Olympics.
Wow, the Olympics. So that's what we're determining now. You're using that now. But you didn't do that. Hold on, Skip. I'm trying to figure out why you didn't do that in 2012.
Because we were loaded.
No,
this
no,
time
no.
even you said it was KD or bust.
Now we
Am I
loaded.
right?
Skip, you do realize that everybody, with the exception of maybe 2 guys, have been an all-star. So we were still loaded. We were loaded.
And then why did you say after we lost those first 2 exhibition games to, who was it?
Lost to Nigeria, lost
and
to Australia,
Are
and you lost the
kidding?
opening game to France. Okay?
Yeah, and what was Shannon Sharpe saying at that point? Oh, I think we're in some trouble. I think we did scale a 1 to 10 trouble after the first 2 losses. I believe you were at an 8.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
so I'm just trying to figure out.
The world has caught up to us. We're not big enough. We're not tall enough. We can't rebound. And we have a solo star. Right?
You beat a team. You got 10 all-stars. Or however many was on the team. You got 10 all-stars. And you beat France by 5 points with 3 all-stars. You know, every 40 years, never been. Hold on, 1 all-star, Rudy Gobert. And 3 NBA players.
Batum's pretty good.
He ain't no all-star. He's never had Will. He was so good. Let me tell you what. They say Giannis was watching Nick Batum and his coach told him, say, son, if you keep working hard, you could be as good as Nicholas Batum. And Giannis turned to him and said, if I'm only as good as that, I'm going back to Greece. That's what Giannis thought of Nicholas Batum. And you want to try to hype it up because you want to play KD up. KD don't need you to play him up. KD is historically great. KD should have been a 99 in the game. But because LeBron says that, that does not mean LeBron is admitting KD is better. LeBron just doesn't need to say, I need to be a 99, because that has no bearing on whether or not LeBron thinks of how he perceives himself.
Last 2 times I saw KD versus LeBron, actually in LeBron's house in Game 3s, KD just took it over because he's just better.
Skip, if you look at it, the game that you said it was better, LeBron, they hit in Game 3, LeBron was 42, 12, and 9.
Who hit the shot of shots?
So it's about 1 shot. So it's about one. So if under what you're saying,
who was the
Giannis.
MVP?
So in other words, for what you said, because Kevin Durant did what he did to LeBron in his house, Giannis is the best player because you saw what Giannis did to KD in his house.
Was Giannis playing against LeBron James?
No,
he wasn't playing against
now
LeBron.
it's about now you get disqualified unless you play against. So anybody that this is what I'm starting to see about you. Anybody that does something great against LeBron, it elevates them above LeBron because we saw what Giannis did to KD in a Game 7 in his building.
Who played better in that 7-game series, Kevin Durant or Giannis? Help me out.
Won?
Who played better?
Won?
Who played better?
So,
the MVP of that series was runaway Kevin Durant.
I tell you what,
runaway.
Hold up. Go back and look at the 2017-2018 and look at the stats. LeBron averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, had more steals, shot a high field goal percentage than Kevin Durant. So since we're going to do it like that, who played better? He averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, shot a high field goal percentage.
Actually, Kevin Durant played better because he made all the shots that mattered the most, because he's the most efficient scorer I have ever seen. It's about when you make that shot that's the shot.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes.
Is it about playing better or is it about winning?
Well, it's both. They go hand in hand, obviously.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. He won.
It's only because Kevin Durant's toe, his tiny tip of his toe.
We don't do excuses.
The tip of his toe was on the 3-point line, or we'd be having a whole different conversation.
Why you
want to talk about a clutch shot?
Why you think I closed my restaurant Shay and turned it into a lounge? I got tired of serving the excuses. I ran out of excuses because people kept coming in and I was out of those excuses and I didn't have any. So I just turned it into a lounge. People can come, kick back, and have them a good old time. Don't get them excuses. I'm not going to let you make no excuses for Kevin Durant. Guess what? So did Kevin Durant feet grow in the game? Damn, I thought he wore 17 at the beginning of the game. And somehow it grew to a 19 during the game. I'm not going to let you do it, Skip Bayless.
The man who has spent the most time in your restaurant for losers is LeBron James, because he's lost 6 finals. He's got his own table in the back. It's his memorial table, and you reserve it for him every night, and he spends a lot of time there.
Can I ask you a question? How many times have people put Kevin Durant into the GOAT conversation?
Never. Until just the other day. Who was it? Gilbert Arenas put him in there, right? Right?
So what are we talking about?
Yep.
My guy about to have 10,000 rebounds and 10,000 assists this year. And when he's all said and done, he's going to be 40, 10, and 10. 40,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists, and he's going to have another title with another Finals MVP.
Oh, is he really?
Not what he going to have.
Okay, can we bet 10 cases on that right now?
We already got that bet. I already told you.
We don't have that bet.
You want that bet? You got it.
I want LeBron wins championship and Finals MVP this year for 10 cases.
No, I didn't say this year. I say before he's all said and done, before he's done. Before he's done.
Well, shouldn't it be this year?
No, before he's done.
Well, he's LeGone James.
No, he's not.
All the hype videos.
Did he look like he was gone? In year 19, he just averaged 25, 7, and 7. Boy, I know a lot of people wish they were gone and averaging 25, 7, and 7.
It looked like he was gone against Phoenix to me. 17
straight years of averaging 25-plus points. Who can say that? Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Did you say it looked like he was... Whoa, so he was hurt?
I don't know. I don't know what happened against Phoenix, but when they needed him to take it over...
Oh, you don't know.
He was not capable.
You don't know. So before Solomon Hill dove into his ankle, I didn't hear anybody say anything about LeBron James looked like he was done. As a matter of fact, he was one of the top 3 guys for the MVP.
Solomon Hill dove into his ankle, and he kept playing? He went down and made a shot from the corner, and then I watched him
Kawhi Leonard tore his ACL and kept playing. So Kawhi Leonard wasn't hurt. Kawhi Leonard wasn't hurt. Because you said he kept playing. That's what you said. That's the argument you used for LeBron.
But you told me if Kawhi doesn't get hurt, the Clippers are going to the finals. That's what you told me.
Hold on, Skip.
You said it on television.
No. That's a different argument. You said LeBron, because he stayed in the game, he wasn't hurt. I told you Kawhi partially tore his ACL and stayed in the game. So was he not hurt?
Well, he torn his ACL.
And he stayed in the game.
Briefly.
LeBron, hold on.
He went to the free throw line and missed.
And no. But after he went back on defense. Don't do that, Skip Bayless. We watched it. We can go get the tape. So LeBron James
he needed surgery. Did LeBron need surgery on his ankle? I don't think so.
LeBron stayed in briefly.
Okay. All I know is that right here, right now, even LeBron knows in his heart of hearts, deep in his psyche,
how you tell that man what he knows?
Kevin's just better than LeBron.
Skip.
Come on.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
You saw what happened at the end of the gold medal game. Kevin just said, give me the ball. Dame goes down there. Dame time. Bricks 2 free throws.
Okay, Skip.
And Kevin says, just give me the ball and it'll be over. I'll run and get the ball in bounds and they'll foul me and I'll go down there and I'll swish both of them because I am clutch.
We've never... In all my years, I've never heard anybody use the Olympics as a measuring stick.
He was a solo star. We've never had... We're as depleted. Nobody went except Kevin, and Kevin had no business going. He didn't have to go.
Yeah.
Nobody would have blamed him if he didn't go.
So Dame is not an all-star.
No, he's not. He's not that guy. He's not
Dame
a superstar.
Is not an all-star.
He's not a superstar.
Dame is a superstar.
Oh, stop it! You saw what happened. He took the Olympics over, didn't he?
Oh,
you saw.
Oh my God!
Stop it. Not in Kevin Durant. And I've never even put Kevin Durant in the same sentence with Michael Jordan because he doesn't belong, and neither does that guy.
Skip. Just because somebody... So, in other words, because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird wasn't as great as Michael Jordan, they're not superstars.
No, they are superstars. Don't put Damian Lillard in there.
Skip, I'm not saying they're better, but in this generation, he is a superstar. That's what he is.
According to you, in your view, not mine.
Everybody
I've never
says
said
they...
that. Well, I don't. I'm not everybody. Well, I've said it from the start. And right on cue, he goes down there and missed both the deciding free throws.
So Michael Jordan has never missed a free throw.
Well, he didn't miss the ones that counted. You know that, and I know that. The big shots, he made all the big shots.
Okay. Go back and look at the game that he scored 63. Mm-hmm. People, I don't want to tell you what he did or didn't do, but go look at that game.
No mercy. Well, Saturday on FS1, it's a huge MLB doubleheader, starting with a pivotal game for the Yankees as Aaron Judge powers the pinstripes against my Twins. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, and you could win some big money that game because David Ortiz is putting his money on the line on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. It is free to play, so scan the QR code below, download the app, and answer 6 questions about Twins-Yankees for your chance to win $1,000 of Big Papi's money. Good luck. Well, also, before we watch that game, the Patriots play their second preseason game tonight, and we'll get another look at Mac Jones as he attempts to win the starting job from incumbent Cam Newton. The rookie from Bama impressed in his preseason debut last week, but not enough for Bill Belichick to tell anyone about any new plans for the season opener. So, Shannon, who will start week 1 for the Patriots?
I believe it's Cam Newton. I haven't seen anything. Now, obviously, Skip, that could change tonight if Cam stinks it up and Mac goes out there and plays well, because I believe everybody's going to script it. We're going to script plays to try to do something against their defense and vice versa. But if Cam goes out there and stinks it up and Mac Jones continues to play well, then we might have a different discussion. But I believe as we sit here and discuss this topic currently, Skip, I believe Cam Newton is going to start. I'm looking at their schedule. Open up. They got the Dolphins at home. They get the Jets at home. At the Jets, Saints, and then week 4, we know who comes to town. The most sought after ticket in regular season. This might be Super Bowl worthy action, Skip. I can just imagine what's going to transpire. But I also believe Coach Belichick believes he has a team that can go compete for a championship and can at least make the playoffs. And I don't believe he's going to trust that to a rookie. I don't believe Cam Newton will get as long a leash as he had last year. Now, Skip, COVID, we've heard people say COVID does, to different people, it does different things. Yep. Jason Tatum says he still didn't feel right after COVID. Mm-hmm. Cam said it did a number on him. Lamar Jackson had it, said it did a number on him the first time. So for me, Skip, I believe it's going to be Cam Newton. I also believe that neither one of these guys have been told anything. We might not know until, Skip, opening day, whoever runs out there with the starting offense, that's going to be the starting quarterback.
I'll buy that.
For Coach Belichick to sit down, Coach Belichick ain't finished divulge that kind of information. And we won't know until whomever's under center, the first offensive snap, that's the starter. But I believe it's going to be Cam Newton. I don't.
I do think tonight is a huge night for both these quarterbacks. As it fell out this year with just the 3 preseason games, it's now clear to me that the second week, even though the Cowboys in Pittsburgh played the extra one of the Hall of Fame.
But then it'll be game 3.
Yes. But most teams are targeting game 2 as the dress rehearsal.
Correct.
And I believe tonight will be the night. I can't wait. I'll be on the edge of my seat because this is a serious quarterback competition. Yeah. A 50-50 battle between these two.
I believe it's the most serious one of all the other quarterbacks.
I'll buy that. In the end, I believe that Bill Belichick will go with your guy, Mac Jones, because Cam has never quite been his flavor, however you want to say it. It's not his cup of Gatorade. It's Cam Newton, who Bill had to reach for in a little bit of desperation because he got caught. He didn't have an answer to Tom Brady the first year. And this time, obviously in the draft, Mac fell in his lap. It wasn't at the top of the draft, but as he slowly fell down, 15, he was right there. And all of a sudden, he's got his quote-unquote Tom Brady. It wasn't a 6th rounder, but it was a guy who was a little off the top of the draft radar. So he takes a shot there on a kid who clearly, I've never had a problem. You love it. You think he's better than any of the young quarterbacks.
No, I think he's the most ready to play of all the rookie quarterbacks.
I think the highest ceiling, as they say, is Trey Lance. And we'll see how that fares. And I think he's got a shot to be the day one, game one starter.
No, I don't think he's starting over Jimmy G.
We'll see what happens there. I think Kyle would like to make him the starter because I don't think they want to suffer through more Jimmy G garbage. You know, He is an accident waiting to happen.
He is, Skip, but in that division, Skip, you got Kyler Murray, you got Matthew Stafford, you got Russell Wilson.
Okay.
That's the toughest division, and I believe he believes Jimmy G gives him the best chance. But in this situation, Skip, I just don't.
Remember, you're not acknowledging the size of the egos of Bill Belichick, and for that matter, the guy you know, Kyle, because his father was Mike. Obviously, you played for, but Kyle got to a Super Bowl, and he's been a coordinator in a Super Bowl. He thinks, I got my... What did they do? They traded all the way up to 3.
But they kept Jimmy G for a reason. I think ideally, they would like for Jimmy G to start. I believe ideally for Coach Belichick, he would like for Cam Newton to start and hold on to this job.
Yep.
But unlike last year, Cam is going to have more games like Buffalo and Seattle, Skip, as opposed to some of those stinkers that you can't lose to the Broncos. Skip, you remember they lost to the Broncos? You can't lose to the Broncos. You can't lose to some of the...
Not at home.
Right. Yeah. Lose some of the games that they lost. He's not going to get that kind of treatment because he's looking like, I only got Stids or I got Hoyer. Mm-hmm. That's not how he's looking at it now. He's like, I got a kid that I drafted in the first round who... My former defensive coordinator, who when he vouches for somebody, I take that to the bank. Because Coach Saban gets a lot of Coach Belichick gets a lot of Alabama players.
He does.
I believe Cam starts week 1.
So what have we seen so far from Mac Jones? It's what we saw from him at Alabama.
He's extremely accurate.
And he's a tough kid.
Yeah.
He is mentally and physically tough. Because he took a lot of punishment at Alabama, and he just jumped right up and came right back at you. So I give you all the above. That will all play for Belichick. Mm-hmm. And what just happened with Cam, the day after the first game was a week ago, tomorrow, actually.
Right.
What did Cam post as Mac was getting all the rave reviews for his first shot when he got a standing ovation for his first performance? Cam posted, loyalty, I deserve it.
Yeah.
And
he was talking about something else.
I know. That's what he said. And I don't discount that. I do believe it was something else, but it was the wrong place and the wrong time, and I'm not sure his head coach will think it was about something else. And his head coach is fully aware of everything that goes on because he wants the Patriot way to be in the locker room. You keep it, everything's under wraps.
He ain't got it yet. Coach Belichick's still on MySpace.
You think so?
Yeah, he ain't got it yet.
I think somebody will bring this to his attention, and he will not love it, and he will say, that post is why I'm not completely sold on Cam Newton, because I'm not sure he's completely sold on the way we do business here. We don't bare our souls on social every other day.
Well, Skip, he's kind of let Cam, I mean, you see how Cam is. I mean, you'd never saw Brady doing some of the things that Cam do at practice and all the dancing and all the singing and having a good time. So he's kind of loosened the reins, so to speak, somewhat. Now, he's still Coach Belichick. You still check your ego, leave your ego at home, come in here, what's best for the team, not what's best for you, what's the best thing for the team, and basically what I say goes. And he hasn't deviated from that, but I just think the thing is that he believes right now, I believe, could be wrong, we'll see, I guess, September the 12th? Because the first game is September 9th, September 12th.
Yep.
We'll see, but I believe Coach Cam gives them the best chance to win right now.
What would do the best? What would satisfy the ego of Bill Belichick the greatest? It would be to take Mac Jones and get him ready for the 4th game of the year and to beat Tom Brady with Mac Jones. You don't think that would do wonders for Belichick's battered ego?
Do you really want to put Mac Jones against that Tampa's defense?
Maybe. I could ask the same question about Cam Newton.
Yeah, but
from what we saw down the stretch last year.
I believe Cam is a year moved from that shoulder surgery. I believe Cam is has a extra year up on his belt of this offense. He has a better understanding of what is expected of him. Cam is finally healthy. I like Cam to start. I'm not saying Cam is going to finish the season. That's a whole different debate that I'm sure we're going to have at some point in time if and when Cam will be replaced.
You said the readiest of the rookies to start is Mac Jones.
Yes.
I think Bill Belichick would concur.
But the other guys, you look at the guy in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, you look at, Zach Wilson and Jets, they don't even have any, so they're going to start.
Yep.
At least Jimmy G's going to a Super Bowl. Cam has gone to a Super Bowl and been an MVP. So it's not like they got, guys that haven't won in this league in front of them. Now, the question is, how long will they start? I believe both guys start. I believe Jimmy G starts. I believe Cam starts. Another question, but I'm sure we're going to have at some point in time in this 18-week season, when are they going to Trey Lance and Mac Jones?
Okay. I'm on record. Mac starts game 1.
How much do we got?
You should love that.
Any do?
Huh?
Any do? Put
Any
a case.
do on
Put a
that?
case on it.
No, I'm going to wait. I got to see what happens tonight.
Tonight?
Yep.
Okay, so tomorrow.
I'll go.
Possibly.
Okay. When we get there, I'll show you.
Tomorrow.
No mercy.
August 28th, college football is back on Fox. The Big Ten kicks off with its first matchup of the year as Nebraska and Adrian Martinez travel to Illinois. The action kicks off August 28th at 4 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The countdown is on, guys. We are just a couple weeks, less than at this point, away from college football. Well, Zeke Elliott is entering his 6th year and coming off his worst season as a pro, but appears to be using that as motivation. Zeke has looked happier and slimmer in camp and told reporters, quote, "I think the hardest part about last year is you feel like you let your teammates down. That hurts. Just having the year I had last year, you don't need more motivation than that. I just know the type of player I am. I don't think I showed that last year. I've got a lot to prove." We're now joined by 2-time Super Bowl champ and 6-time Pro Bowl running back LeSean McCoy. Thank you so much for being with us. I got to start with you, Shady. Will we ever again see the Zeke who dominated the NFL in his first 3 years?
I think so. I truly do. A lot of different things have to work for Zeke, I think, going forward. He got a lot of blame for last year, having a yards per carry at 4 yards, which is low, a career low for him. But to defend him, his defense was terrible. I felt like they couldn't stop anybody. Worse than the Mike Tyson fight, bloody nose type. He didn't have no type of help. Seriously. And then you think about having so many key injuries. Look at the offensive line, rotating in and out. And then to top it off, I think your best player on offense, either him or Zeke, Dak Prescott, he goes down for injury. So all them different things. And also the biggest thing I think about is not really getting the ball. It's hard to get the ball when your team is really down. He had about 200-something touches last year, which he's used to getting 300 plus. And he's the type of guy, man, that he needs the ball to do more and do more and do more as the game goes on. I think the biggest thing is he's dropped some weight. It was definitely important for him. He looked heavy. We need the old Zeke, man, with the shirt up, with the abs out. I think you get that type of Zeke. He's a lot quicker. He's a lot faster. He finishes his runs a lot harder and better condition. So I definitely expect Zeke to have a great year, have a bounce-back year. Now that I'm kind of done with the NFL, have a great year, but not against my birds.
Yeah. Shady, I'm going to disagree with you. And I know you, having been a running back, have been a Pro Bowl running back, but you're a different type running back than Zeke. And what we've seen over the history of this game, power backs, normally when it goes, they don't regain it. You look at Zeke, over 1,200 carries in his first 4 years. Only one other running back has at least 1,000. That's Todd Gurley, has 1,080. He went from 21 carries per game over his first 4 years to now he's down to 16. Now you throw in the fumbling problem. And the offense is transitioned from Zeke, what they were in his first couple of years. You know what they were. Hand the ball to Zeke, play action off of that. Now they got Dak Prescott, and they paid him. They got CeeDee Lamb. They got Amari Cooper. They got Michael Gallup. And the offensive line, the injuries, I just don't see it happening. I'm not saying that he won't have a good, but the 1,600, the 1,500 yard Zeke, I don't believe that guy's coming back because his body is different. His body is taking a lot of those car crashes. The offensive line isn't young anymore, and the offense is transitioned. They are a throwing football team. They are no longer a running football team.
Go ahead,
Skip me. Well, I disagree. I think also, like, I've been on a team where you can do more with less. So you talk about when they pay Dak, and CeeDee Lamb and the merch he's coming on this year. I think you can do more with less. So now that you kind of the box is not as crowded, you have more space. I think with the lost weight, he'll be a lot more shiftier. And one thing about, you talked about power backs, right? And you talked about Gurley. I think Zeke and Gurley are a lot different in the other power backs. Like, Zeke is powerful, but Zeke is shifty. There's times I see Zeke in the middle of the hole and make a guy miss, and it's all about leverage. So you talk about pounding and running the ball and pounding the running backs, which I agree with. But I think you really watch Zeke play, man, he is different. I think he's very explosive. He finishes runs hard, but he's shifty enough to keep playing. I remember watching Marshawn Lynch. We used to always go at it for yards.
Right.
And everybody talked about how physical he was. But they don't see the plays where Marshawn makes guys miss.
Yes.
So he's not getting a direct hit every time. And I can see Dak helping that out, putting the ball in the air, and mixing it up, play action and different things like that. But also, mix it up, man, and not let him get so much pounding with Zeke and Prescott doing a lot more in the air.
I shouldn't have said power. I meant collision. He's a collision. He's a heavy contact, run the collision. Zeke, yes, he can make you miss, but Zeke is not a guy that really runs out of bounds. He runs to contact. And normally guys that run to contact, once they start to lose it, it's been very few times over history they've ever been able to regain that.
So, LeSean, it's good to have you on the show. Long time no talk. I want to thank you and compliment you on your initial take on Zeke because I want to believe you. I'm a lifelong Cowboy fan, and I want to buy what you are selling, that the glass is still half full for a Zeke who just turned 26 years of age.
He's still young.
He is still young in human years, but not in running back years. So I want to ask you, because to my eye last year, Zeke just hit the wall of just the collision wall where he did get out of shape. He did have a double chin, which you can't do and sustain it in this league, as you well know. But at what point, where were you in your career? Did you ever have a day where you woke up and you just said, I'm not the same? I can't take the beating anymore? I don't know. It looked to me like Zeke hit that wall in year 5 last year. Go ahead.
Well, I will say this. Last year, actually watching Zeke, there's times where I can see that, and I've been there, where the team is losing, you're not playing as well as you should be. You have so much in your mind. Physically, you're not there, and it looked like that. But I feel like now he has it. There's been a time in my career where I had to, around 5-6 years in the league, 7th year. All right, let me get it together. I remember going back to my old trainer from high school, putting all the Rolls Royces away, all the Bentleys, put that in the garage. I went back to my hometown in Harrisburg and grinded it out. Yep. The young kids today, they call it getting it out the mud. So I think Zeke has realized that. He's dropped the weight. I mean, he's one of the highest paid backs, so he didn't have to do that. Yeah. He feels the pressure. And I know, like, from playing where you could be on top for so long and then you have a bad year or two, it's like, oh, he's not the same. It's like, hold on, he's only 26. He's only 26, 27 years old. So I think he'll remind everybody what an all-pro running back looks like. I think this year we'll get that, help with some of the guys on the offensive line, with the quarterback, get some guys outside. And also the defense matters. Yeah. I mean, like, it's hard to run the ball when the defense is terrible. That's football, to control the game. And
to your point, he hired a nutritionist.
I think he's definitely come back this year and he'll do his thing.
He got a cook. He's changed his diet. You can just see it.
He had a cook.
And he's never had to do that ever. That's the thing. When a player at his status, at elite level, does that, it's telling you something.
Hey,
he don't have to do that.
Shady, he had a cook. Popeyes, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, they were cooking for him.
He was the chef. He got a real chef now. He was the chef.
Oh, okay, my bad. But here, let me ask you this, Shady. Over a 4-year span, have you ever had a situation where you carried the ball over 1,200 times in a 4-year span in your career? I doubt it.
I couldn't give you that. Yeah, I'm not sure about the numbers. But I carried the ball. I played with Andy Reid, so we threw it a lot. But
exactly.
We ran it.
And you were definitely, but you're not a collision runner. You're shifting. You're more Barry Sanders-esque. Make people miss, shake people. I'm gonna get out of bounds. Okay, if I need this 31, I drop my shoulder. But you're not trying to take unnecessary contact to show how tough you are. I think sometimes Zeke got caught up into that and trying to run over 1 and 2 and 3 people.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, but like, it's like yes and no, because he's a running back. And I think he's only 26. When you talk about the wear and tear on you, but he's only 26. I think he still can play. I mean, last year when he missed 1,000 by about 200 yards or so.
1,000 yards ain't the same, Shady. If you average 65 yards a game, you get 1,000 yards in football for a running back. 1,000 yards is, if you get 1,000 yards for a running back, you haven't done anything. You need to be 12, 15, 13, 1400.
You can't say that. You didn't play back there, so you can't say that. You can't just say that. Because as a running back, let me finish. As a running back, right? It's not, you need more than just yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more than just you. You need guys to block. There's all types of things that needs to go right right? So you can't just say if you get 1,000, you're terrible. You can't just say that.
You're making my point, Shady. Tyron Smith, back-to-back years of injury. Lyle Collins missed all of last year. Zach Martin missed last year. You're making my point why Zeke's not going to get back. You're making my point.
I think with some of them guys back, one thing about football, man, having a chip on your shoulder is big. You can't underestimate that at all. And I think having that with some of the linemen, some of the players, I mean, even the team. If you see, I've been watching like a lot of the interviews the guys talking about. They all have this chip on their shoulder that they want to prove themselves. So I'm watching out for that team, man. From the guys up front to the guys in the backfield, even the defense. I feel like everybody's playing together, man. They got a lot to prove. I expect big things out of that team, especially that offense. And another thing is, people like you are talking about Zeke. They see it. And you notice in the locker room, when guys talk about some of your teammates, you want to go out there and prove it for them. I remember we had Michael Vick, and he would get so much criticized about everything, criticized about this, about that. So we want to go out there and play for them because that's your teammate, that's your brother. So just expect them guys, man, to hear these interviews with different people talking about analysts and et cetera. I think that we expect some big things from that offense.
So, LeSean, I think I heard you just predict that the Cowboys will beat the Eagles twice this year. Is that what you're saying?
I hope not. I hope not.
Because I think they will. I think they're going to cakewalk to this division. I think the guy across from me is going to have to eat a whole lot of crow and lose a whole lot of bets to me, because I do think the Cowboys will stay healthy enough in the offensive line to give Zeke a bounce-back year and put Dak back at the top of the passing ranks.
No mercy.
Kevin Durant opened up during a Bleacher Report interview with Draymond Green, and one topic that came up was his decision to join Golden State in 2016, despite nearly beating that same Warriors team in the playoffs with the Thunder months earlier. And despite the backlash he received for joining a super team, KD had no regrets about his decision, saying, quote, "I would do that bleep 1,000,000 times. I didn't second guess at all." Shannon, do you like his explanation?
I believe him. I believe him 1,000%, Skip. I believe it was a basketball decision because the money was going to be the same no matter where he went once he left OKC. So it wasn't a money issue. Kevin Durant is a guy that he became Kevin Durant in OKC. So it wasn't like he was on a big market team, a big market. So I believe him. But Skip, the reason why I believe him is because when he won those titles, it lifted a burden. We were talking about Kevin Durant hadn't won anything. Can you imagine the pressure on Kevin Durant if here we are in year 14 and 15 and he does not have any titles? Remember the criticism that started him out for Jordan, Skip? You were there when the criticism in the late 80s, 90s, he's great, but he ain't winning. LeBron. So can you imagine? And that was what was year for Jordan? 7? Year 7 or 8, he finally won. LeBron, I think, was year 7 or 8 before he finally won. Can you imagine year 14 and 15 and Kevin Durant has no titles, the pressure and the buzz that he would hear? I just think the reason why people got so upset, they weren't upset that KD left. It was that where he went after he left. I believe if he goes anywhere else, Skip, he goes to Washington, he goes to the Knicks, he goes anywhere except the team that had won 73 games the year before and has Steph and Clay, I believe it would have been all good. It's like, man, I wish he'd stayed in OKC, but we get it. But it was when he went there that I didn't have no problem with him leaving. Hell, he fulfilled his obligations, Skip. He played his contract out. He didn't request no trade. He didn't ruffle any feathers. Didn't know. You said you heard through sources that he was unhappy, but no, it caught everybody off guard. Ain't nobody saw this coming but a handful of people, maybe the closest in his circle. But I believe him when he said it was a basketball decision and it was the best decision for him because it put his mind at ease because guess what we're not having? Who the best player that's never won a championship? Kevin Durant's not in that discussion. So I believe when he says he would do it again.
And I first guessed this because the day that bombshell dropped, which was July the 4th of that year, as you recall, I immediately tweeted, I think we're on vacation because I was in Palm Springs. I tweeted, good for him, that this was absolutely the right move when the basketball world was condemning him and continued to condemn him all into the next year.
Condemn him to this day.
Yeah, that's what he said in the interview. But he had to make this move for two reasons. He wanted to get away from Russell Westbrook because he decided he could not win a championship with Russ as his primary decision maker. So we fast forward to now. LeBron has decided he can win a championship with Russ as possibly his primary decision maker.
Right.
We'll see how that, I think he's going to be the point guard. You say LeBron wants to play off the ball. We'll see how that works.
Right.
But Kevin also said, from a basketball point of view, which I appreciated in the interview with Draymond, he fit with Golden State because what he does is what they needed. He is an efficient scorer who does not command and demand the basketball, and he loved the way they moved themselves and the basketball.
Right.
He fit in the flow of their offense, and he said, I fit on both ends of the floor because he will rim protect.
Yeah.
He's 7 feet tall.
Correct.
And Draymond called him on it, said, I don't care what anybody says, you're 7 feet tall, because he is.
Right.
And he's like 7'7" long.
Right.
So he can rim protect when he decides to do that.
Right.
So he helped Golden State on both ends of the floor and was a much better fit there, found a much better niche there, was much happier there in the flow of the offense than he ever was with Russ because, trust me, with Russ is going to dribble the ball off the floor, and then Russ is going to look over to the wing and say, I think it's my turn.
Right.
Maybe next time I'll give you a chance.
But, Skip, let's just go ahead and put this out. Kevin Durant is a great fit anywhere. In any offense, at any time. When you're that tall and can shoot the ball like that, can handle the ball like that, there isn't an offense that you're not a great fit for. But this was the absolute perfect fit because the ball is hot potato.
Right.
Steph, Clay, Draymond, KD, boom. Or vice versa. So you're right. Nobody dominates the ball. Steph doesn't dominate the ball. Steph is constantly running. Steph don't have the ball long enough to dominate.
Is Clay.
Right.
Yeah.
All three of those guys, when they got together, could be catch and shoot three pointers, three guys.
Yep.
But Skip, this was a perfect fit, and I absolutely believe him that he would do it all over again because the championships brought him peace. It brought him peace of mind, and now we're not having this discussion because I can imagine what you would be saying had he not have those championships, and here we are in year 14, 15.
Well, that didn't happen.
See? That's why he would do it all over again.
Yep.
No mercy.
The NFL has asked officials to emphasize enforcing taunting penalties this year, a move that competition committee member and Giants owner John Mara is in agreement with. Mara told reporters, quote, we get kind of sick and tired of the taunting that goes on from time to time. We tried to balance the sportsmanship with allowing the players to have fun. Shannon, what's your reaction to this?
Kim, who is we?
Good question.
I'm just trying to figure out where was this uprising? Well, I went back online and I went back over the last years looking at my timeline and I'm trying to find things where fans were like, there's too much taunting going on in the NFL. The NFL needs to do something about it. This is John Mara and other guys like John Mara saying, look, we're going to put, because we know who's doing the celebrating. Let's not pretend we don't know who's celebrating, Skip. So
Tom Brady celebrates occasionally, right?
So we know what this is about. Okay, Skip, we get it. Maybe we saw a little bit in, when Winfield Jr. did the peace side and Tyreek.
I loved it, but that's okay.
But what they called it in the preseason, Benny LeMay, the little running back, he's an undrafted free agent, Skip.
Yep.
He moved the pile like 10 yards. He gets up and he's hyped. Yes! They throw a flag. Skip, that's not taunting.
Not taunting. Agreed.
So, I want to know, so when the guy gets to intercept, when they get the turnover, Skip, and everybody run to the end zone, is that taunting?
No. Celebrating.
Yeah, so because if I get a first down, Skip, and run the clock out, and I'm like, yes, is that taunting? Because they're going to lead it subjective. It's up to the official.
Showing emotion. I agree. I'll say it. John Mara is speaking mostly for older white people.
Of course.
That's just what he's doing. Period. End of story. And maybe, to his point, he's lost some of those customers because he's... Okay, well, maybe.
But what I'm seeing is everybody's like, let them have fun.
Okay, look, I know what he's talking about because I grew up being taught that mindset. It's sportsmanship. It's honor thy opponent, right? It's hand the ball to the official when you score. There's no chest beating. There's no bat flipping. And there's no entertainment in the sports that we were playing because nobody really cared about watching us. And I dare John Mara to poll kids today of all colors.
Yes.
Do you like what you're seeing? Yes, they love what they are seeing. And they don't want it to go away. And they don't want it just officiated out of the game slowly but surely with these penalties that are going to be on the edge because they're too hard. They're too subjective to call. And there were only, 10? No, maybe it's 15. 15 taunting penalties called last year. Yeah. Watch what happens now. The way it's going, we might have 50.
And guess what they do now, Skip? They bat flip every home run. Basketball, they shoot the three ball, they hold it. They hold the pose.
Yep.
Skip, ain't nobody.
And what happens in all the video games? They're holding the pose, they're flipping the bat.
Skip, I get some rules.
Yep.
When they took the kickoff, when they took the wedge back there because they had almost 1,000 pounds, and people were getting injured, the concussion rate, we say, well, this is the highest rate of concussions happens on this. They did away with that. I get that. Yeah. Skip, nobody was clamoring saying there's too much taunting going on.
No,
John,
nobody's
stop
clamoring.
That.
But even you don't want somebody standing over a fallen opponent.
Yeah, Skip, we know what that is. Yes. But what they call Saturday, I think that was Saturday when they did it, that is not taunting.
No. This is scary. You've opened a Pandora's box here that you're going to need to close.
Yeah, well, we know, John, what you're getting at. Don't pretend like we don't know, John. Who is we?
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out, too, and who is actually following these rules.
No mercy.
Different QB to discuss. The Bucs and Titans have been working out together this week before this Saturday's preseason matchup. And after practice, Tom Brady spoke glowingly about Tennessee QB Ryan Tannehill. He also denied the rumor that Tannehill was the quarterback he was referring to during his appearance on the Shop this offseason. And his infamous, "You're sticking with that MFer" comment? So, Shannon, if it wasn't Tannehill, who was he talking about?
Well, I never thought it was Tannehill. I just never pictured Brady in Tennessee. He definitely doesn't strike me as a Tennessean, Skip. But I thought he was talking about Jimmy G. But a lot of people believe he was talking about Derek Carr. But I thought he was talking about Jimmy G. Skip, San Francisco, that was his boyhood team. Joe Montana, the 49ers that had just come off the Super Bowl, Jimmy G. I was like, man, this would be a great place. They're like, nah, because John Lynch even mentioned it. Like, nah, we're going to stick with Jimmy G. And Tommy like, y'all stick with that mofo? Y'all crazy.
I don't think he would use that term for Jimmy G. I think he likes Jimmy G.
Yeah.
They were in the room together a long time. I believe he was talking about your man Tua in Miami, because I believe Miami was actually his first choice in Florida so that he could beat Belichick twice a year in that division as a Dolphin. That's what I think he had his sights on, and I believe he's seen enough of Tua as I had seen at Alabama, and I told you he's just not the answer.
I don't think Miami had enough weapons at the time, and the offensive line wasn't good enough. I think Tom, he might have wanted to go someplace else. I think he landed in the perfect spot.
Yeah.
I'd say.
They got the weapons in the offensive line.
Yeah. That is it for Undisputed. Skip, Shannon. We will be back tomorrow morning. The Herd is on now. Have a good rest of your day.
Undisputed.